Right guys, Q&A as promised, so I'm going to answer as many of these in full as possible. Probably won't be too long, don't want to keep you forever, but let's say we'll hit, maybe 10 to 15 of the best questions and answer them in full. So first question coming in is, do you think you'll ever create your own Kojos? I don't think you can ever recreate someone else's kind of environment. Kojos is an exceptional place, very personal to Jordan and Corinne's journey in a sense that all of the equipment in there has been selected over the course of multiple years, hand-picked, changed, some taken in, some taken out depending on the goal, to become almost the perfect training environment for them and their goals. Would I like to do something similar myself? I would, but I don't see it happening while I live here, because the cost of having such a place in London would just not be worth it. You'd be paying a lot for the space, and it just wouldn't be feasible. Just wouldn't be feasible. It'd be way too expensive. Unless I ever had a house that was large enough to house, a kind of private gym, then of course, but we're talking big money. But in the meantime, I'll just make sure I go down to Kojo's and enjoy it for myself. So that is what I will do. Second question. Hey man, big fan, what is your favourite, Marvel or DC? So if you were to go back to 2000s, like 2008 onwards, maybe to about 2015, I would have, without question, said Marvel, because I'm a massive fan of the original Iron Man, the original Thor, the Captain America first two films. There was just some incredible films coming out from them, from the original cast. I think as of late though, I think they've fallen off quite dramatically. I think Yana will agree on that. They've kind of gone down this route of being overly cheesy and comical. So, having said that, and having watched Batman with Rob Pattinson, was that this year? I think that was this year. The tone of that film was amazing, and if they continue to bring out films with that kind of tone, like that, Joker, with Joaquin Phoenix, films like that, then they're certainly going to steamroll over the Marvel franchise in regards to what I consider to be a good film to watch. Of course, Marvel's always fun, cinematic, epic, colourful, but if you want something from a film that's a little bit more serious, a little bit more adult, then DC kind of is moving towards the direction that I like. Hopefully they continue to do so. Question number 3. Deload or devolume 101. Why, when, how? I've noticed you rarely take a deload. You don't have to deload if you manipulate your training consistently. So if you constantly evaluate your output and your nutrition simultaneously alongside time and progress towards something, whether it be a show or an off-season, you can avoid having to have a deload if you train in that manner, because what you will do is actually you will adjust your volume, your frequency, your output accordingly daily. Obviously, if you train in blocks, it's a very different situation. Like if you wish to push exceptionally hard for a certain amount of time, then the consequence of that is that you are going to have a deload or some form of rest bite from that intensity. I'm the guy that's always pushing at, say, 85 to 90%, but I can do that consistently forever because of these adjustments that are made, versus some of the guys that smash at 100% and then they have to scale back to 50%. I just feel like over the course of time at where I am in my bodybuilding, my career, I get more out of the first option. Nothing wrong with either. I'm not criticising that. I've got friends that are amazing bodybuilders who do the deloads. Obviously, listen, if I woke up tomorrow and I was like, I'm absolutely smashed and I'm not going to be able to train, then I would consider doing that myself. But because I'm always because I'm always consciously adjusting my training rather than periodically, I'm always kind of one step ahead of where my training's taken me in terms of recovery and whatnot. So yeah, that's my answer to that one. Question 3 here, this is a great one. Do you think bodybuilding has hindered or helped your mental health? I think bodybuilding has helped. I think competitive bodybuilding has hindered. I think competitive nature in anything that requires you to push your body to extremities beyond natural limitation does have a negative effect on not only mental health but actual health itself. I love bodybuilding, but you have to understand that with competitive bodybuilding there's a lifespan on it, and that, for example, when I started bodybuilding, the objective was always just focus on enjoying it, focus on improving at my own rate, and don't compare. Once comparison becomes major, that's where things start to run into problems. In my opinion, again, you can totally disagree with this. You might be like, well, I'm a super competitive person and all my success comes from being competitive. That is true to a certain extent. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have a competitive streak in me. I wouldn't have made the progress I've made or won some of the shows I've done or got to the Olympia. So yeah, with that being said, you need to know when to step away from the competitive side. I think you can always bodybuild, because bodybuilding is purely about you wanting to progress in one way or another, physically, performance, via how you look, or just how you feel. So on that front, it's great for mental health, because there's nothing better than feeling rewarded for your efforts. But at the same time, the competitive side, your efforts can quite honestly be brushed off by someone judging you who isn't you, yet has that power over your mental state just because they said you're not worthy enough to win a show. Hope that makes sense. Question number 4. Will you and Dorian ever get a training session in together? I can't see why not. Now it's just about time alignments. Dorian's obviously a very busy man. I'm quite busy myself, but I love Dorian. I have nothing but admiration, respect, and total gratitude towards his achievements, what he's done for bodybuilding, who he is, how he's living his life now, the examples he sets, the fact that he came out of bodybuilding, you know, depressed for 10 years and turned it around. I think we can all look at Dorian and learn something from him, and certainly respect that. Whether he's your favorite bodybuilder or not, one thing you can't do, in my opinion, is not show respect towards him and his achievements and who he is. Moving on to number 5. What is your favorite cheat meal? This is so dependent on the scenario, where I am, who I'm around, what I haven't eaten for a long time. But I would say off the top of my head, an Indian dish, like just a curry, naan bread, you know, some poppadoms and mango chutney. The actual curry that I would probably get as well, normally I would go with my friend Louis to one near us that's called Royal India, and would get some chicken chat purees to start, obviously some poppadoms and chutney, vegetable biryani side with rice, and then we'd get a butter chicken dish and a chicken tikka dish as well, and all the naan bread, every flavour, Peshwari naan, garlic naan, cheese naan, you name it, and just go ham on it. So yeah, if I had one favourite cheat meal, I would say it would be Indian. Number 6, believe in yourself more. Your potential top 6. I wish I did, and I'm trying. You know, all you do every day is make sure you tick the boxes and work as hard as you can. I won't lie, you know, I'm very honest that last year's appearance at the Olympia really knocked me and has dictated how I am acting now. Some questionable motives, some unorderly adjustments, and some kind of... I'm very hard to read right now. Like, people don't really know what I'm doing or where I'm going, because I don't really show it, because everything's about taking it one day at a time, and I'm just trying to listen to myself more than anybody. I found it very hard to truly now want to hand myself over to anybody fully, because last year just really got to me. So obviously I still liaise with Pat, I talk to Jordan, I still ask questions, I still present possibilities, but ultimately now what I'm doing is, if my head's like that's the way to go, then I have to listen to myself, because then I'm accountable. You know, if I mess up again like last year, at least then I can say, well, it's your fault. So yeah, we'll see. I think I've seen myself looking my best, and I know my best is very good, but how good, I don't know. When you're trying to get stronger, this is question number 7, I believe. When you're trying to get stronger, what's more important, overall calories or adequate carbs? I would say it's more overall calories, but with more emphasis on carbohydrates and healthy fats. To just bump up carbohydrates alone isn't probably enough. You do need some good healthy fats with that, just because to get strong you do need some weight behind you. And I find if you just up carbohydrates, a lot of the time you don't accumulate the same amount of calories, because obviously fats are more calorie dense. So you're worth putting in, you know, an ample amount of fats from good sources, but also a high amount of carbohydrates, not truly and solely relying on just bumping up your carbohydrates. Protein, if I'm honest with you, I tend to keep all the same all year round, whether I'm dieting or trying to put weight on. Question number 8. Do you flex the muscle before doing the rep, or do you find this pointless? The only time I'll flex a muscle before doing a set, not a particular rep, is perhaps if I've done a few sets of that particular exercise already and the pump's really good. Let's say you're training back and you've got a really good pump in your back. I might hit a lat spread for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, really hold it open and then hit a set. But I wouldn't purposely flex the muscle then press, or flex the muscle then pull. If you have a good mind-muscle connection, you probably don't need to do that. If you don't and you're trying to establish a good muscle-mind connection, then there's probably no harm in trying to contract the muscle prior to engaging in an actual contraction that's going to move weight. What drives you? This is number 9, I believe. What drives you? Are there key things you think about through the day? I think about not wasting my time on this earth. I think about not being dead with nothing to look back on. You know, I've seen people who had all the potential just disappear, and people forget them the day after they're gone, and I can't live like that. I can't live like that. I have to get to the end of each day and think I've done something worthwhile today that makes me feel like I've had a reason of being alive on earth. And if I wake up and I have a day where I don't feel like I have a purpose, I won't lie, I think to myself, well, you don't deserve to really live a life, so you better make sure you get a purpose. So I make sure I wake up every day and I have an objective or 2 or 3. And a lot of the time it's stuff like this now. It's not even just about what can I do for myself, it's about how do I pass on something else, or how do I communicate with others to be the benefit of them and me. Because I find that coming online and talking and doing stuff now is very rewarding, obviously personally, but also for other people. So I know that kind of goes off the question, but I just think about trying to create something and not be alone, and get to the end of it all and think, well, I never touched anybody's lives, and I never made anything better for my own. Connor has asked, number 10, are you coming to watch tomorrow the British finals? No, I'm not, unfortunately. I'll be busy at Tewkesbury training legs. I very rarely get to bodybuilding shows these days, and I'll be honest with you, it's because of anxiety. I have a massive level of anxiety around crowds. Find it really difficult to be places where people, even if they don't, but are judging me. This is something I've discussed with Jordan a lot, and it's something that's only kind of got worse the longer I bodybuild for, which is, again, relating to one of the previous questions, do you think bodybuilding is good for your mental health or bad? One of the bad sides is that you put ultimate pressure on yourself when you're around people and you want them to look at you in a light that's not negative. Because of that, I just find the easiest way for me to sometimes just be is to just not go. That's why you very rarely see me at events these days. I just have a level of anxiety, and it's come probably since 2020 when everything went into lockdown, because I spent so much time away from people, reintroducing myself to people and being around people. I was never quite the same, and it's going to take time. But I wish you all the best, and it's nothing but love. Question number 11 is a nice basic one, but it is, do you eat potatoes? I do, but they're just not filling enough. No, I do like potatoes, but do you know what it is? Just the preparation of them's a bit long. I do love a jacket potato, and the option's there. If I want to eat potato, I could, but rice is so easy to prep because you just use a rice cooker and cook your entire day's worth. So for me, I just use rice because it's very easy to chomp down. Doesn't take up too much space in the stomach, especially when I'm eating a large amount. Potato is something I tend to eat more if I'm very hungry and I need it to be more filling, because I do find it more filling than rice. But, you know, right now I'm not starving, so therefore I don't need it. I think this is question number 12. Which do you prefer, push-pull legs or bro split? Or do you think it comes to the individual? I think it comes to the individual, but I think the best is a push-pull legs, but not exactly push-pull legs. I think it's a modified approach. So for example, I do chest, shoulders, triceps, then I do legs and biceps, and then I do back and rear delts. So that me saying that's what I think the perfect split is, because I do 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, and I'm getting the frequency there. I don't have to do crazy amount of volume because my frequency's in a good spot, and I get everything trained. So for me, you won't get a more clear answer than that. That's my favourite split. The go-to Yamamoto health sub. So I've got an order coming with some incredible circulatory, heart health, digestion, immune system products in there. And if you know, Yamamoto have some funky names. So what I'm going to actually do for this one is I'll do a separate video once they arrive on these products. They have great joint support. And if you notice on the site, they actually have multiple different products in each individual category. So they have multiple joint supports depending on, obviously, your budget. They have multiple sleep formulas. They have multiple health, digestion products. The particulars that I have, if I've got the invoice on my PC, my laptop, I'll go on, hurry up. Oh, this woman can't drive. Anyway, if I've got the invoice on my laptop from my order, then I'll know the exact names, because the names are funky, and I'll put the names in the video afterwards. Number 13, guys. Is there any games coming out that you're excited for? Excited for? Not so much excited for. I look forward to God of War Ragnarok, but she's looking forward to Stray. But I'm looking forward to God of War Ragnarok, but I think it's going to be very, very similar to the previous God of War, which I liked, but it wasn't quite a 10 out of 10 game for me. The Resident Evil 4 Remake is probably the game I'm looking forward to most. That's coming out, but that's not till next year. And other than that, there's not really anything. Modern Warfare 2 will be good, but again, it's not a 10 out of 10 for me. So those 3 games I like the look of, but I think out of the 3, Resident Evil 4 is definitely the one. Resident Evil is my favourite franchise, and you guys probably know this because I stream it on Twitch. And the only other thing that's coming out, but I bet it'll be a disappointment as well, because they have been lately, is Final Fantasy 16. They just haven't been the same. They've changed since the generation of probably the Xbox 360, PS3 days. They were way better on the PS1. Question number 13 or 14. I've lost count, but we'll do a few more. How do you decide rest periods between each set? Do you go by how I feel or set time? Normally by how I feel. I just go by how I feel. Unless it's a specific set where there is a set time to be resting for, all feel. Question number 14, I believe. If Luke was still here, where do you think he would place in O? He'd probably be Mr. Olympia. He had everything. He had the structure, he had the look, he had the charisma, personality, popularity. Just a great person. Beautiful smile, beautiful friend, beautiful personality, just a really good person who was a good ambassador for the sport and would have really put bodybuilding in a very, very good place. I love this question. When are you doing the chicken nuggets? When I can, as soon as I can. The challenge.
I won't allow you to do 170.
Yannika's like, I'm worried about you doing 175 chicken nuggets. But the reason I know that I could, because listen, when you eat that much food in volume, yes, the calories are crazy, but you are going to shit half that out. Your body won't absorb that.
Pass through it.
Yeah, but it's just going to pass through and come out your back end.
Over 7,000 calories.
Easy.
Just in nuggets.
Easy. I'm going to smash it. I will do. I will bet you I'll probably do maybe 3 or 4 more than that. I'm going to do it. Me and Jordan have already discussed some things we're going to eat, because obviously I go down to see Jordan every other week, and he's allowed to eat normally, so he just winds me up with some of the things he's been eating on a Saturday because he has a meal off. So we'll see. I think this might be the second to last question. Will you do a workout with Ian Valliere in the future? I hope so. It's just logistically, I'm here, he's there. But Ian's a great man, excellent bodybuilder, strong as fuck, nothing but respect. I've obviously been around Ian multiple times and think he's a great guy, and he's one of the best bodybuilders in the fucking world. Right, this person's asked 2 questions. One's, what is your current training split? How important are your rest days? And what are your current carb sources? Do you add in cereals, bars, etc.? So I'm going to say one thing to you. This is Gym Guy. Get to my YouTube. Where this video is going is where you want to be, because I've done full day of eating twice, one on a low day, one on a high day. That'll show you exactly what I eat. And I always film trainer videos on this channel as well. So yeah, get to the YouTube. If you're not already, subscribe, like below. Hope you guys enjoyed this content. Just a short little Q&A, 15 question fire round, and I'll be back with more. We'll do some more. Peace and love. Have a great day, and I'll see you again.